Ignore my closet. I'm bored and sad, so I must sew. I was looking through all of my sewing stuff, and I've got a lot of stuff, but not a lot of ideas. But then I was thinking about it, and I want more tiny tops for summer. But the problem with tiny tops is I can never buy them because, these are too big to fit in store-bought tiny tops, so I have to pattern my own. All right, pattern making time. Okay, now we're on the floor because that's where I do my best work. We've got my physics notebook because it's graph paper and I want to use graph paper to draw this out. But what I'm basically thinking, so here's, I know that is a rough drawing, but here's what I'm thinking. Okay, so we're gonna have the band straight across, that's one piece. It's gonna tie in the back. Then we're gonna have the like ruffle skirt thing, I don't know what to call it, but that'll go most of the way around, but it won't go all the way around to the back, you know? You can see the vision. I know you can see the vision. I know you got the vision. But we'll have the ruffle. We're gonna have those two, and they're gonna be pleated at the bottom to give them extra room, and they're also gonna be pleated at the top. So they are gathered, not pleated, I should say, but they're gonna be gathered, because then that way there's more room in the cup. And we're also gonna double line those for sure. This will not be double lined or anything, I'll probably just hem it. And then we'll add straps, which are also gonna be reinforced. I think I will probably interface the band, interface the straps. I'm probably just gonna double line because I still want those to move like fabric, so I'll probably just double line them, but I won't add interfacing because interfacing is gonna mess with it. Let me draw out the pieces I'm thinking I need. Now, obviously none of this is to scale, but okay, here are the pieces we're gonna need for this. Strap 1, strap 2. Those are for the top. Then we're gonna have one cup, the other cup for the, then the band, once again, this is gonna have interfacing, this is gonna be reinforced, and then this is that. So let me do some mental math and calculations and figure out what I need the measurements for all of those to be. We're back and I've done some mental mathing to figure out what we're gonna do for this. So the good thing about patterns like this is you don't need any closures because you're gonna tie it. It's pretty simple because these pieces are all squares. We're just gonna gather them. So, oh shoot, there's one measurement I didn't figure out. Fuck my life. Okay, so you're actually gonna have to help me get the last measurement here because I forgot one measurement. But, okay, we've got my measuring tape. Okay, so for the measurements, for our big square, this is what I did first. So I'm going 6 inches in length. These are all before seam allowance. Seam allowance I will add. I do 3/5 of an inch because that's really easy to do on my machine, but I add seam allowance last. First, let's figure out the general, what we want. So I just measured from like, here's where the band will be. How far down do I want this to go? Now consider it's gonna like flow out a bit and be a little flowy. So go a little longer rather than a little shorter, and you can always hem it at the end. You can always take away fabric, you can't add. Remember that. For how long I want it to be, so here's the thing. It's gonna tie in the back, so we don't want the ruffle to go all the way to where we're gonna tie. Now the band around here for me, 30 inches. So I want the ruffle to go most of the way around, but I don't want it to hit that full 30. So I subtracted 5, so that'll leave like a gap on the back. So I subtracted 5, 25, and then, because it's gonna be gathered, multiply that by 3. So 25 times 3 is 75 inches. Now, I'm not sure if I have that much fabric. We're gonna have to see. And with the mock-up, we'll figure out you might only have to do 2 times. We'll come back to that. Then we have the band. Now, I'm just gonna do 1 inch for the length. We don't want the band to be too much. We just want a band there. And then 70 inches of distance. So first off, what I told y'all already, 30. 30 is my starting measurement because that's where I want the band to tie at. That's how much circumference I've got there. So you want that as your initial measurement. Then you want to add 20 for each tie about. You could probably go a little longer than that. I wouldn't go any shorter than that. So you're adding 40 to your band measurement. For the 2 ties at the top, those are both going to be 1 inch once again, and those are each going to be 20 inches in length. You need about 20 inches to tie it in a bow. Then, okay, this is what, so for these are like the cups. This is when you kind of have to guesstimate, but if you go over like the fullest part of your boob, you start at the bottom and then you go up to, we want the ties to start right like at your collarbone. So I'd say like right from under to your collarbone, and make sure you're going over the part that has the most volume because you want these to fit your boobs. So that's about 10. And then we're gonna gather them at the top and the bottom. Okay, I just realized a mistake, and I'm glad I realized it now. I was just kind of guessing for the 1 inch for this. No, we're gonna make, okay, for the band, we're gonna go 1.5. It's a horrible drawing, don't talk to me. And for the straps, because I think 1 inch is too small to gather this into. So we're gonna gather to 2. I should not be writing upside down. I'm not very capable of that. Okay. This is totally a guesstimation, and I have no idea how well this is going to work. I'm going to go with 10. But we're going to mock up with this fabric, and then we will do the real thing. So I need to start moving all of my sewing stuff downstairs, which is going to be so fun. And just like that, I've taken over the common room. Okay, to start out, since I was in my common room, I just cleaned off the table because I didn't want to put my fabric on that nasty table. Anyway, then I laid the fabric out, started measuring shit out, and cutting out all the pieces that I needed. Oh my god, this is the mock-up fabric. This is not the real fabric. I don't know if I said that yet. It's an old bed sheet. That's what it is. Yeah. Got all my pieces now. Time to start sewing. Okay, so here I am just pinning all the fabric together, starting with the waistband strap thing, which took literally fucking forever, as you can tell. It is taking me quite a while because that was a very long piece of fabric. Anyway, and then I pinned all the other parts together, and this is for the mock-up, so I'm not really showing you much. So just, like, don't worry about it. I pinned things, and then I sewed them. Yay! So now it's mock-up try-on time. Ow! Oh, I just stabbed myself with a pin. Okay. Okay, don't leave pins in your mock-ups. So first off, the ties at the neck are pretty good. Bust, solid. I almost feel like I could have made it more than 10, because I am like almost falling out the side. Like this is gonna be pretty risque. One problem though is at the sides, it's definitely loose. So what I'm gonna do to fix that is instead of having the bottom of the square be a straight line, I'm gonna curve it up. So I'll just sew that in closer. I'm not gonna lie, I think it's a little too much ruffle. I'm probably gonna go down to, yeah, probably 60 inches, maybe 65. Overall, this is really cute. Oh, and what I forgot to mention is this I had to fix because I knew it was wrong. I was trying to gather a total 10, so it's 10 inches across. I was trying to gather 10 into this tiny ass little thing here, which obviously did not work. So I ended up, I'll show the shape, I'll put the shape up here, but I cut it down to 6 and diagonaled out the sides, and I think that looks much better. It's day 2. So, made the mock-up yesterday. Now, we're going to the real fabric. This could go really badly, and now I gotta actually use the interfacing. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with interfacing. I remembered my interfacing is iron-on. What do I not have at school? A fucking iron. We're gonna see if I can use my steamer. Anyway, now I'm gonna get to cutting out the pattern. Here's the modified pattern with all the adjustments from my mock-up fitting. It's not really that different. So at this point, I just laid out the fabric, and you'll see me folding it up. So I did that to make it easier to cut out like the straps and ties because they're long pieces of fabric, and I thought it would be easier just to fold it up and like cut it out so it's like doubled up. If that makes any sense, I don't know if I sound crazy. Oh, there's me biting my nails, great. Anyway, I just continued to cut out all the pieces based on the pattern and cut out double based on what I needed double of, and then, yeah. So, pretty simple. Alright, while I have successfully cut out all the pieces I need, I just realized I don't have any stretch needles. So I'm gonna have to order some off of Amazon because there's nowhere to get them anywhere nearby, so we're just gonna have to wait. It's several days later, but look what I secured. That's right, stretch needles. These ones, entirely labeled in languages I don't understand. So anyway, right now I'm working on doing some pinning. Every time I sew with stretch fabrics, I am reminded why I don't sew with stretch fabrics. This is a nightmare. Okay, turns out I just needed my walking presser foot. It's stitched up perfectly. All right, now I am cutting out the strip of interfacing that I need for like the waistband thing. It's in the pattern how the measurements. It's pretty self-explanatory. Anyway, I tried to steam it on. This obviously didn't fucking work. It was a hot mess. I was also trying to steam the waistband itself, which just made things even worse. So then, yeah, I whipped out a pot with boiling water in it. I will say this worked a little bit better. Do not try this at home, kids. Just use an iron. It would be so much easier. Anyway, now I'm drinking root beer and sewing things together, as you can see. With the posture of a goddamn fucking shrimp. Bruh, are you kidding me? Okay. Stop doing that. Oh, I've got this. Now I've got the straps. I'm gonna pin them inside out and then sew them and then flip them. Okay, so now all the pieces are pretty much hemmed and prepped. So it's time to start sewing things together. So to start, I'm gonna gather the really long ruffle. So let's do that. So now we're back to sewing. So I got the ruffle on there and I was trying to just do the straight stitch across where you then pull on it to like gather the ruffle. I've now got the ruffle all gathered up. Then I'm gonna pin it along the waistband thing. The interfacing is the same length that the ruffle is gonna be, so I'm gonna pin it along there. I'm gonna fold in seam allowance, pin that over, sew that down, then I'll flip over the top edge once I've got that sewn down. Okay, my machine was not dealing well with sewing the ruffle down. It just was not dealing with that amount of fabric well. So I think I'm gonna have to hand sew when I sew the top part over it, which is fine. I think maybe it's the walking foot, maybe it's something else, I don't really know. I'm gonna do the rest of the sewing and leave all the gathering sewing till the end. My machine and I have a love-hate relationship. So anyway, here I am hand sewing. I ended up hand sewing actually more than I thought I would hand sew, just because it was easier to get a lot of shit done with hand sewing rather than machine. So yeah, I pretty much hand sewed the rest of the garment at this point, which was the top of the like bust piece into the straps. Yeah, here I'm showing you that. I hand sewed all of that. Anyway, here I am showing you my work. Wow, look, it's sewn in. That's crazy. I didn't know you could do that. Whoa. Okay, just did the final step of sewing. Forget telling you what the final step is. I'm never gonna sew anything ever again. This is too perfect. Okay, that's it. That was the sewing video. Not really a tutorial, kind of a tutorial, whatever you want it to be. Follow for more? I don't know. Comment below if you try it out. I don't know how to do YouTube.